I've used a method for dovetailing. I don't use it very much these days, but I've used it throughout my life. It's a quick method of joining a corner together. It would work great on a tool tote, it would work on a beehive, anything like that. So what we're going to do is, we've got the ends already squared. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my fingers on the outside for the thickness of the adjacent piece, and I'm going to just mark a couple of lines, one line on this one and another line on the adjacent one, just so I feel for the flushness at the end of the grain. And then I pull a nice crisp clean line. I don't need a thick black line, I just need one thin line. These are my guides. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut 2 dovetails. Now I'm going to eyeball them because I can make them exactly as I want them. Down to the line, just stay above the line. And I'm going to find the middle here. I'm just eyeballing the center, and then I'm going a little bit either side of that middle line, like that, and like that. And I've got my dovetails cut. I'm going to take out that middle section there. Now I'm using a coping saw. I've got my blade, it's cutting on the push stroke, not the pull stroke. It works much better. I have more power that way. So not going all the way down to the bottom. On the forward cut, I make my turn. Stay close to my line, but not dead on it, because I'm going to pair cut down to my line in a minute. So when I'm going across the grain here like this, I'm sewing to my line, and then I go to the other side. But first of all, while I've got the outside cut to the line, I'm going to take my knife now and I'm going to transfer the line to the opposite side and across the middle one. Once I've done that, I stand this up and go to the opposite side, flush it with the bottom of the pin recess. This is called a pin recess. And I go to the opposite side and make another knife wall on this side. Then I connect these 2 knife walls up on this side, and I can cut this outside one just as I did the other. I slide my saw right up to the knife wall and saw down. Now you can see I've got these beautiful crisp knife walls to cut to, and I just have to pick the right size chisel to pair cut down. So I go directly into that knife wall and I just pop it with my hand like that. Same onto the others. That means I'm not applying too much pressure. Then I go to my chisel hammer, if I've got one. Anybody see my chisel hammer? There. And I start to chisel down only halfway through. I go to the opposite side. This is the inside of the box. I'm using my hand because it's more sensitive, but not too heavily. Once it's got a knife wall there and then the chisel wall has extended it, I can use the hammer and it won't move the knife wall. Now that I've got my template, this is my dovetail. Look at those beautiful dovetails all ready to go. So I stand this one up in the vise and I'm using a pencil and I draw around my dovetail. So I've got a template, I've got a pattern that I'm working to. I take the pencil, nice and sharp pencil, and I mark the inside around the sides of the dovetails. Now on this edge here, these are going to be parallel to the long axis of the piece of wood. So I just use my finger as a guide, like that. And then I can cut down this on the inside, on the waist side of that pencil line. You're not splitting the line, you're cutting on the waist side. And the waist side is this bit that we're going to remove. Now my saw, again, it cuts on the push stroke, not the pull stroke. but a pull stroke saw will work just fine too. I start on the back edge and then drop my hand to the line, just like that. Okay, now then, what we're going to do this time is we're going to take the other piece of wood, we're going to take the square, and we're going to offer this piece of wood to the end again, and we're going to feel for the flush at the end, and we're going to pull a knife stroke like this. And then, right on this inside corner, we make a small knife nick, come over to this side, transfer to the inside, flip the square over, and then go all the way across on this side. And that's going to be our chisel line that we're going to cut to in a minute. But the bulk of the waste, again, is going to come out with the coping saw. So here we go. Into the kerf, lift, go down to the bottom, and then come back up a little bit and make that turn. Same again. So I knew those little short strokes help me to turn the corner. Now I take a wider chisel. Let me see what I've got. I've got a 1-inch chisel, that will work. And I go right into the knife wall. Go down about halfway, no more. I'm going to have to use a narrower chisel on the other side. About halfway. Now with a narrower chisel in 2 passes this time. Now I angle over to follow the dovetail angle, and then the opposite direction on this side. Next one, so I'm feeling for the chisel going into that knife wall, and the same on this one. I'm using pine. It's an inexpensive wood, and it works well, especially with beginners. So here now I press with my thumbs, and I press and press, and there's my dovetail done. So that's my dovetail together. I'm going to just take a couple of seconds to use my plane as an eraser, just to take the pencil lines out and get the surfaces perfectly level so that you can see exactly what I've got. And it's worth taking a little time to do this. So there's my dovetails. I've got my dovetails. I'm going to go back in here now and take the ends, the nubs off the end of the dovetail. Now, of course, there's no opposition to the planing here because the dovetails only go one way, but I think we can get it. So my pencil lines are coming out. And there is my dovetail. And it's great. It's a good dovetail. There's nothing wrong with it. You can adapt this method. You can use it for a wide range of, if you need to replace a kitchen drawer, a drawer in a dresser or something like that. This method works just fine. I might use the other method I use because I might want a better refinement on certain aspects of my work, and that's all. So this works. It's a perfect dovetail. It works great.